How's it going, y'all? My name is Zenna. Welcome back to another episode of Battlefield 2042 More Than Meta. I don't know about y'all, but I seriously enjoy a good underdog weapon, and this series allows me to share with y'all the best guns that aren't necessarily talked about or used by the majority of players. So let's take a step back from the more common weapons like the PP29, RM68, BSV, and take a look at one of the more unique weapons in today's episode of More Than Meta featuring the K30. So some of you may be new to 2042 and need to know how to unlock the K30. Well, I have good news for you. All you have to do is reach level 53 and boom, you now have access to the fastest firing automatic weapon in Battlefield 2042. With a blistering 1200 rounds per minute with the standard ammo, the K30 is able to shred through targets with ease, of course, as long as you're within a reasonable range. You will find the K30 quickly loses its value once you reach that 40-meter range. Apart from a significant loss in accuracy, the damage drop-off is pretty extreme as well, taking as many as 8 bullets to kill past 50 meters. The K30 really does its best work up close and personal, so keep that in mind when traversing these maps. It's important to note the K30's strength is most definitely its fire rate, but can also be a weakness for those medium range encounters. The K30's intense spread makes for some difficult gunfights past 40 meters. You can try burst or tap firing them, but unfortunately these situations are where the K30 falls flat. It may not be a bad idea to run a secondary with a little more range to weapons like the M44 revolver or the BP.5, the Deagle. These pistols allow you to at least have a little extra range in your back pocket for when you really need it. The direct class competitor for the K30 definitely has to be the AC9. With a similar fire rate and damage model, the AC9 is a capable weapon, even with less recoil and better reload. However, both of these weapons still fall short in the range department when compared to the PBX, the PP29, or even the PP2000. The K30, along with its high RPM, can definitely shine, but only in the right situations. Now is probably a good time to talk about my loadout. No matter how you build a K30, it will never be effective at long range, so my thoughts when considering my loadout is to maximize my effectiveness up close. Now, most of you know I'm a sucker for a good red dot sight, so the Fusion Hollow is where we are going to start. Now is probably a good time to mention the skin I'm using gives me a special sight that I find rather pleasing to use. For anyone curious, the skin is called Stinger, and I believe it's from the Season 1 Battle Pass. I will say the thermal is not a bad option to substitute for, but overall, in my opinion, you can never go wrong with a nice clean red dot. Moving over to ammo, I find the 20 rounds in the subsonic and high power to be very underwhelming. Running this ammo type will leave you with 1, maybe 2 kills per mag if you're lucky, so instead I like to stay with the standard extended or drum mag for most of my K30 gameplay. I find having more ammo in the mag is more important than anything else on this weapon. I find the underbarrel slot can be pretty flexible between the LWG grip and the laser sights. But from my experiences, you're going to be hip firing a bunch with the K30, so it's never a bad idea to maximize that hip fire accuracy. The LWG is nice because it doesn't hurt your hip fire accuracy and it plays well with the K30's high mobility playstyle. I feel that running other grips is just a waste, honestly. I mean, who's running the bipod on the K30? Like, what is that? Now that I think about it, maybe I should try making a meme video using that. Let me know what y'all think. Last, but certainly not least, the barrel slot. I truly think you have some flexibility in this category. I've had good luck with the factory barrel, the RCOM muzzle, and the wrapped suppressor. There might be some use for the heavy suppressors, but the K30 is already a pea shooter, so I don't want any attachment taking away damage. Find the one that works well for you and just stick with it. Don't forget to run a suppressor swap either way, just for those spicy flanks. My love for this weapon started back in 2009 with the original Modern Warfare 2. Of course, in that game, the K30 was called the Vector, but my god, I loved it. The Vector was the first gun I managed to get the fall camo, and even though the UMP was way better than the Vector, it just really shined for me in particular, and was the weapon that I continued to enjoy, even with other games moving forward. The K30, above all else, is just outright fun to use. The insane sound of this weapon always keeps me engaged in gunfights, keeps me wanting more. I absolutely love jumping into a pile of enemies and just spraying my heart out. The hipfire on this gun really is something special, and if I'm not mistaken, the K30 has one of the most accurate hipfires in Battlefield 2042. So with that being said, make sure you maximize every opportunity for hipfire in your gunfights. You can get away with some pretty nasty hipfire plays on the K30, and in some ways, it's like carrying around a minigun that you have to reload every 40 or 50 shots. The K30 really is able to decimate targets before they even have time to react, and that's where you will find your fun with this weapon. Because the time to kill is so quick, up close, you can out-damage enemies even if you are on low health to start the fight. So obviously the K30 isn't the perfect weapon, or else you would see it way more often, and I want to take this time to discuss some of the downsides to this weapon and why you don't see more players using it. Starting off, I would say ammo is a pretty big deal with the K30. Yeah, you can run 2 extra ammo types with the Plus system, but I still find myself constantly running out of ammo with this weapon, and it can be a pretty big nuisance. Obviously, the best way to counteract this would be to play a support specialist and run ammo, but that automatically limits you on how you set up your loadout, and I can see why players would not like this. Another downside has to be the limited versatility on different maps. Yes, you can get away with running the K30 on Hourglass, but you have to position yourself perfectly, and realistically, most players are unable to do this, especially in a conquest setting. Running the K30 in most scenarios puts you at an automatic disadvantage compared to a more well-rounded weapon such as the SFAR or the AK-24. The last pair of negatives that I would put with the K30 have to be the bad hit reg and the headshot multiplier. I don't know if it's just the servers or what, but the hit reg on this gun is absolutely atrocious. I find myself losing gunfights that I really should not be losing, and it can make this weapon very frustrating to use at times. It's a similar story with the headshot damage. Ever since DICE nerfed the SMG's headshot damage, they have just consistently felt worse than every other weapon category, especially the assault rifles. For those of you who don't know, the SMG headshot multiplier is 1.15 and the AR headshot is 2.15, which makes a monumental difference in damage output and kill feed potential. You might as well not even aim for the head with an SMG because it's not doing you any good. I would really like to see DICE change these multipliers and find a better balance across the board, because right now, at least for me, using SMGs is just not even a viable option, aside from the overpowered PP29. At the end of the day, the K30 isn't the best gun to use in Battlefield 2042, but in the right situations, it can make for a great time and some crispy farm. There was a time in 2042's life where the K30 was actually overpowered, and it needed to be nerfed heavily. But at the time of recording this video, on patch 6.1, you will find the K30 is definitely on the weaker side, and I would list it as a B tier weapon overall. I think buffing the headshot damage and accuracy would bring it back in line with the other weapons, such as the AM40, that are simply superior in comparison. I still enjoy using this gun from time to time, and in my opinion, the K30 is definitely more than meta. That's going to close out today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I want to continue this mini series of off-meta weapons, so let me know which gun you want to see next. If you're looking for live gameplay, I stream every week on my Twitch. I will have all my social links in the description. The support on my channel this year has been wild, and I just want to tell y'all how thankful I am, and I'm going to continue doing my best to provide the best possible content. But for now, I'm out of here. Thank y'all again, and I will see you next time.